Yo, so I don't know what these boys is on, but whatever it is, they need to bottle that shit up and take it to go. JB Bickerstaff is looking like coach of the year. Jaden Ivey most improved, or Cade, whichever one, or they could both share it. I may have to look. I know my last video I said be patient, be patient, be patient. But damn, if these boys ain't making it hard to be patient. They look so damn good in this game. I'm gonna be honest. I have been following the NBA. I want to say most of my life, probably since 1989. That was the first time I think I recall watching an NBA game, watching the Lakers and the Bulls. And I have to be honest with y'all. Uh, I have never seen a turnaround like this. Never seen a turnaround like this. I'm not talking about a turnaround because a superstar player comes back from injury and so now they bounce back to who they used to be when the superstar was there. I'm talking about a team that was not winning for years. For years. Matter of fact, you know what? I'll put it this way. I haven't seen a comeback like this since Mark Jackson took over the Golden State Warriors. I haven't seen a comeback like this since we seen Mark Jackson go over there and redefine that franchise from a team that never played defense, from Run TMC with Don Nelson, to this era of just chucking. And as much as we love Monte Ellis, there wasn't no defense being played. Gilbert Arenas, there wasn't no defense being played. Anton Jameson, there was no defense being played, right? Mark Jackson shows up and redefines that team and that franchise. You get Steph, you get Clay, you get Draymond. They had David Lee. They still have Monte. They eventually flip him for Andrew Bogut, bring in Andre Iguodala, right? They piece this thing together. They bring in the right veterans around the core young guys, but they buy into defense. They buy into playing hard and together and connected. That's probably the last time I seen a turnaround like this. JB Bickerstaff not only has each and every player bought into a style of play, he has each and every one of them playing together. Even though Cade can get a little bit tunnel vision at times when he gets rolling, and that, we saw that in that third quarter towards the end where, he scored a bunch and all of a sudden he started trying to go for his and started turning the ball over and kind of let Indiana creep back in or at least have a moment of hope, but then he knocked down a couple shots and took that hope away. But it's to say that they move the ball. As soon as they call timeout, Cade Cunningham comes back and they say, hey, don't forget who we are. We trust one another. We move the ball. Stick to your roles. Master your role. And let's go hoop. What I saw out there was pure basketball heaven, if I'm honest with y'all. The level of competitiveness from each and every guy out there. Look, I played community college basketball, which is still, I always say you get a bunch of D1 talents who never had grades. That's community college. Bunch of guys, or at least where I was in California, in Northern California. All it's to say is you get a bunch of guys who have a bunch of talent and they're trying to prove themselves. They're trying to prove to themselves they are who they thought they were back in high school, but couldn't get it together in time to get those scholarships, to get those opportunities. And so now they're here. And we're all coming together to hoop. We come together really kind of from selfish desires, but a good coach brings us all together. And we begin to hoop and compete with one another. And when you see a full team come together to hoop with one another, to get buckets with one another, to set each other up for opportunities, to trust each other, even when there's a mistake, even when there's a missed assignment, even when there's a turnover, we get back on D. We pick each other up. Man, this was basketball heaven. But I want to dive into certain aspects of this game that I definitely want to point out. One, they beat a good Indiana Pacers team. Indiana Pacers team is not as good as they were last season. They're missing Andrew Nembhard. They're missing, James Wiseman was going to be a big addition for them off the bench. They're missing some key. Aaron Nesmith. They weren't at 100%, and yet they are still a good team. between Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, who's got his own little thing between him and Jaden Ivey, Pascal Siakam. This is a team that's well coached, well prepared, has a strong system. They know it's successful. You're not going to beat this team unless you're bringing your A game, unless you are playing at a level that is allowing you to supersede what they do and are used to doing, which is playing within their system, maximizing their offense. The Detroit Pistons were shutting down this high-octane Indiana Pacers offense by sheer gut will and a commitment to the defensive side of the ball. When you have guys like Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Cade Cunningham playing strong defense, that is a feat in of itself, because these guys are not used to playing defense. They are not usually called upon for defensive purposes. They are not individuals who are known for their defense, and yet within the scheme setup, remember, to create a scheme for guys who don't play strong defense naturally, you have to create a system. You have to have certain things that cover for their weaknesses. You have to play them towards their strengths, and then you have to piece it all together. And J.B. Bickerstaff has done a masterful job of piecing this team together, these lineups together, finding lineups that work and maintaining them, sticking to them, being consistent, making sure guys understand their roles and they're maximizing it, not just on the defensive end, but also on the offensive end. Malik Beasley looks like a revelation. I've never seen this version of Malik Beasley. None of us have ever seen this version of Malik Beasley. He's never played this well. Tim Hardaway Jr., I've never seen him play this much consistent defense, ever. Not with the Hawks, not with the Knicks, not with the Mavericks. That's why he was sat on the bench. And yet here he is. Even when he has a tough shooting night, he's still reliable to play hard D. What J.B. Bickerstaff is doing with this team is phenomenal. Now, I know a part of me was also a little frustrated because I'm like, hey, where's Asar Thompson? I still think Asar Thompson should be starting over Tim Hardaway Jr. But I'm starting to step back and be like, look, who am I to second guess J.B. Bickerstaff at this point? The job that he has done with this team, I am not going to be the one to come in there and act like I know more than J.B. Bickerstaff. J.B. Bickerstaff, whose father was an NBA coach, right? He has pedigree in this. He might be what Stephen Curry was to Del Curry, right? He might be that next great NBA head coach, because what he's showing for me right now is certainly coach of the year. You're integrating brand new players into a starting lineup, a team that had the worst record in the league. It's been one of the most losingest franchises over the last 3 to 4 seasons. You have young guys who usually struggle to win with young guys. He has young guys playing at a high level. It's almost like he superseded their experiential IQ for the game with understanding their expectations and playing them towards their strengths, so that even though they're still turning the ball over, and as frustrating as that is, you see it's not deterring from their play. It's still maximizing what they can produce on the court, and they're coming together to do it. What J.B. Bickerstaff is doing right now is phenomenal. And as much as I might say, I think Asar Thompson should be starting over Tim Hardaway Jr., hey, you know what? Maybe J.B. Bickerstaff gets it. He's like, look, hey, Tim Hardaway Jr. was here the whole training camp. He was here for a full training camp. He understands the system. He understands his role. And we're rolling with this guy. Why am I going to start you, Asar Thompson, when you're only 2 games back from being out? You weren't there during training camp. You're still getting your lungs and your legs under you. We're still figuring out how we're going to utilize you. We have to take our time to integrate you into this because we have something going. That's a good sign. That is a great sign. That's saying I have a plan and a scheme so well organized and thought out. I understand how I can integrate you, and it's going to take these steps, and you're getting there. I think we still see Asar Thompson getting winded. We still see him huffing and puffing. Last season, he was playing 20, 30 minutes, and we didn't see this much huffing and puffing. So this tells you he's still getting his wind back. J.B. Bickerstaff has a plan. And I, for one, need to sit back and just trust it. Right now, this team is already a success. I had them somewhere between 32 to 35 wins this season. You can go back and look at my prognosis. I put it out there. I was very clear about it. And that was contingent upon a healthy Asar Thompson. And now with him back, look, I'm going to be honest, I did not see this many guys taking a step forward. I did not see Asar, Ivey, Cade, all at once taking the step. I thought it was going to take more time. I thought it was going to be a little bit botchy, right? And that they were just kind of going to luck out here and there. As competitive as the NBA is this season, and it is extremely competitive. There's more parity than we've ever probably seen in the NBA. There's so much talent out there, so much depth. You got teams like the Charlotte Hornets with LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges, and Trey Mann struggling to get into a play-in position. And LaMelo's averaging like 40 points a game over the past 4 or 5 games, right? Still struggling. Milwaukee's trying to claw its way back into that playoff position, right? And here Detroit is. Here Detroit is catching everybody off guard and letting them know, hey, we're here. And teams are having to respect them. A season after they were probably the most disrespected franchise in the NBA with the worst record. They were in turmoil. Jaden Ivey wasn't getting playing time. Monty Williams seemed like we weren't sure if he was a foot into retirement. And he had that old head syndrome where you young bucks don't know nothing, and he don't want to play nobody. You know what I mean? And so it's like, and now all of a sudden you get a new coach and you're a playing team. You went from the worst team to a playing team with a potential for a playoff spot. Like the steps I see this team taking, I keep saying they are trending in the right direction, and you can't ask for more than that. As much as I want more Marcus Sasser, I can't get mad at Malik Beasley getting his minutes. He's balling out. As much as I want more Asar Thompson, hey, Tim Hardaway, he's holding it down. He's holding it down. He's getting the loose balls, diving on floors, making the extra play. All right, taking the correct shots, getting back on defense, playing physical. Right? JB Bickerstaff, Coach of the Year. Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, whichever one you want to give most improved player to, it is what it is. Give it to one of them. Give it to both of them. I love what I'm seeing. Whatever they're doing, they need to bottle it up. They need to package it up. And they need to serve a sip of that before every single game all the way through the rest of the season. And if they do, they might even find themselves at the play-in. But as always, I want to know what you all think. If you agreed with the video, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Definitely share the video in your group chats. And get at me in the comments section. I'm going to get back at you there. And I'm out. Peace.